Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? In the words of Marv Levy, there's no place I'd rather be than right here talking to you guys on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast outside of being with my family. And that's the one thing that this week taught us in terms of the tragedy turned triumph that we all experienced here in Western New York and around the country and around the world as the world and the country united over a Buffalo Bills football player. A truly amazing testament to the power of prayer and the power of hope and the power that is the Bills Mafia. As consistently it is proven, Bills Mafia not only gives, Bills Mafia can receive. As we received, I would say, proverbially, arms were wrapped around us this entire week as Bills fans, due in large part to the fact of what we went through on Monday night. And it's no secret what we went through. If you're living under a rock, what we went through was one of our players suffering cardiac arrest on the field. His heart stopped. He died on the field and had to be resuscitated and rushed to the Cincinnati Medical Center. And the game is suspended. And then the NFL announces shortly thereafter the game is canceled. And there's been a lot of different debate and different discussion in regards to how the NFL has handled that. I'm going to give my take on that, and it's 12:09 right now. We got 51 minutes left until game time. But I want your thoughts. I want you guys to fire away your comments in the comment section below on what your thoughts are on just this last whole week as a Bills fan. I'm Ryan Thomas, of course, the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, in case I didn't introduce myself from the top. I wanted to acknowledge the fact that what we experienced this past week has been nothing short of a tragedy turned triumph. We've been a triumphant fan base in terms of how we supported this young man, Damar Hamlin, who his family received our support. His family received support from the Bills as well as the Bengals, as well as all 30 teams in the National Football League, whether it be players, owners, former players, entertainers around the world. It was a true testament with each donation that was made to Damar Hamlin's charity that this is a very special young man that people were able to wrap their arms around and provide prayers to and provide a sense of uniting together that I don't think this country has quite experienced that since the darkest day in the nation's history. In terms of my memory, I can't remember a time since September 11th, 2001, where we saw the country unite together in the form and fashion that it has. I would say COVID was the complete opposite of that in some ways. I won't get too political on that, but I think we'd all agree that that was a very tough time for a lot of different reasons politically, where moments like this with Damar Hamlin and his recovery, his consistent recovery, it has been a true astonishing testament each and every day that has passed since for me to see just the fact that people are wrapping their arms around this young man. They're receiving all the prayers and all the love, and it's just been an awesome moment that has made me very proud to be a fan of this awesome franchise, the Buffalo Bills. So let's get to the game. We got a game to play today, and this game is unlike any other due to everything I just mentioned. Not only is the game going on today, the game is going on at home in Orchard Park, New York. You got the Bills and the Patriots. What better matchup could you tee off for the Bills Mafia to come back into that stadium and cheer on the Bills? What better matchup is there than the Bills and the Patriots? And truthfully, it's been a long process in terms of how we got here, in terms of being a competitive, top-notch team. It's been a very long process. And in that process, we've seen the Bills completely revitalized as a legitimate franchise within this massive league, the juggernaut that is the National Football League. And I want to say this. I want to acknowledge this before I get into the game in terms of where we're at as a fan base and where we're at as a team currently. I was reminded once again that none of this stuff going on with the Bills would be possible if it wasn't for a man by the name of Sean McDermott. If it wasn't for Sean McDermott, if it wasn't for Brandon Beane, we wouldn't even be having the conversations that we've had over the last, I guess 5, 6, 7 years. And those conversations pertain to this team being not just a good team, but a top-level elite organization. And that is where I'm at in terms of this pregame show and in terms of what is Ryan Thomas feeling heading into this one. I know for certain that the Bills are a top premium organization in the National Football League based on just on-the-field stuff, but taking care of things off the field has actually allowed them to become better on the field. Who would have thought that everything that we'd ever wanted as Buffalo Bills fans, we would need it just as much off the field with the culture. That's a word that I'll throw around a lot all the time on the show, and it's a word that gets thrown around a lot in terms of the NFL, vocabulary and the NFL dictionary. What does culture mean? It means from top to bottom, ownership, GM, scouts, front office members, just top to bottom, that whole group of people. And then you have the coaches, whether it's the head coach, his assistants, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, position coaches, and then the players, the training staff, the heroic training staff of the Buffalo Bills that doesn't want any credit. They're just doing their job just like Stephon Diggs does when he catches a pass. Their job is saving lives, and they save someone's life in the process of Monday night's tragedy turned triumph. It was only turned into a triumph due to the heroic training staff within the Buffalo Bills organization. Top to bottom, it makes me so proud to know that the team I root for is not only a great team, but the team I root for is a classy team from top to bottom. They have the classy ownership group, the Pegula family, Terry Pegula, Kim Pegula, all that they've endured as multi-sport franchise owners, as well as in their personal lives with Kim Pegula's recent, battles with her own health. And this whole offseason has been, off-season leading into this season, as well as, of course, the season, has been truly astonishing in terms of what this team has gone through. I can't remember a time where a team has gone through this much stuff, and yet we're here. We win today. We're the 2 seed. The Chiefs, unfortunately, clinched the 1 seed on a technicality based on the fact that the Bills will have played less games by season's end, and the Cincinnati Bengals will have played less games by season's end in comparison to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's frustrating. In terms of football, it's frustrating that this game meaning the Bills and Bengals, I should say, could not get rescheduled, could not get reshifted. I disagree with that. I felt like it could have been rescheduled, reshifted, refocused. It wasn't. And I'm not going to try to make too much of a point out of that today, because I think there's a lot more important things than football, and I think we've learned that this week. But I don't like the way that was handled. I'll just put it that way. I don't like the way that was handled. There's talk of a neutral site, and Indianapolis is saying they can't do it, so now they're looking at other neutral sites. I don't know what to believe, until the news is official, until the news gives us an official report on what's going on. I'm truly astonished, though, that the multi-billion-dollar, what I'll say, I don't even know if you could quantify it as a billion, but the gajillion-dollar organization that is the National Football League couldn't swing some things around so that the playoffs wouldn't have an asterisk next to it in terms of competitive nature, in terms of what the league is about, in terms of true results. I don't think you can say that the Chiefs are the legitimate 1 seed based on what took place over this last week. So I'm going to throw that out there for anyone to hear, and, agree, disagree with me. That's fine. But I think most Bills fans, at the very least, would agree with me. So I want to report, too, that Damar Hamlin's charity has now reached nearly $8 million, actually over now $8 million in donations from over a dozen NFL teams, as well as millions throughout the world. Not only teams, but players, entertainers, all over the world. People, you look at that list, you go on the page, I should say, the page that has the charity of Damar Hamlin, the Toy Drive Foundation that Damar Hamlin runs. And the fact that Damar Hamlin's charity has received, I mean, it was what, $2,500 at the moment of his injury on Monday, and now we're at over $8 million. Not nearly, we've surpassed $8 million. That just goes to show you the support that this young man had. That goes to show you the good nature of people that I think we need to see more often in times of tragedy, and we turn a tragedy into a triumph. I'll say it again. So, keys to victory for the Buffalo Bills today. Talking about this Buffalo Bills New England Patriots game. This is one that is the matchup for Bills fans to get their spirits up after what has been a hard week, but an inspirational one to say the least. The Bills and Patriots. Going back to my talking point about the organization, where the organization was at for so long. This organization was, I'm gonna flip the cap for this one. Where the standing Buffalo proudly. The organization was not organized. They were not a cohesive unit. There was dysfunction from the top to bottom. Head coaching searches that lasted, 2-3 years. Head coaching searches that ended in a coach that would only be there, for 2-3 years. Dick Duran, was 7-9, 7-9 seasons. Consistent mediocrity, we'll just say. Well, now this team, Sean McDermott over the last 6 years has turned this team into a competitor each and every season, despite any and all adversity that you could come up with off the top of your head, things that you'd never expect, including Monday night. Coach of the Year award, I'm just going to throw it out there. Sean McDermott, case closed. Just hand him the trophy already and just get it over with. No one else deserves it as much as him based on what the team has gone through. So, keys to victory now. We're at a point in this matchup where you have the Bills as the juggernaut of the AFC East. They've won 3 straight division titles. They've beaten the Patriots already pretty easily this year. I would say out of all the divisional clashes, even the second clash with the Dolphins, even the second clash with the Jets, as good as the defense looked, I would say their easiest win, the win where they were able to kind of relax and kind of cruise to a victory without having to make a big hit, without having to do X, Y, and Z, was to me against the Patriots. And that just goes to show you that, the Patriots are not a team to fear. They're not a team that you would say is high-powered. I would say this. The current Patriots offense is one of the easiest to beat because they don't have a ton of talent. There's not much there on that roster to make you go, whoa, we got a game plan for that. The only thing that you'd have to game plan for that I do think is important is stopping the run. The Buffalo Bills must stop the run. The Buffalo Bills have had a great season in terms of Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, prior to the injury, Von Miller. Wow, what an impact he made. But stopping the run up the middle, especially with a bigger running back that has that elusiveness as well, given his size. Ramondre Stevenson is that guy that I'm getting my eyes out on, in terms of the X's and O's in today's game. He's the guy that I'm looking at and saying to myself, okay, we need to stop that guy. We need to put a stop to him. We need to keep him at bay. He needs to be somebody that we keep our eyes out on. And that's why I have this as a category in terms of keys to victory. Buffalo Bills must stop the run. I think Mac Jones is an okay quarterback. Despite not having the weapons around him and despite the struggles, the Patriots have not given him much to really work with. And in terms of the wide receiver position, in terms of the tight end position, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry were overspent tight ends, overpaid tight ends, over sought after tight ends. I think based on the free agent bidding at the time, the Patriots had to far surpass any other team in terms of bidding for one of those two players, and the Patriots got both of them because they just paid both of them so much money. So they haven't done anything. Those guys have not done anything to really stake their claim as key members of this offense. Jacoby Myers, the lateral will live in infamy. I don't know if there's anyone on this offense that really scares me. I don't know if there's anyone really on the defense that scares me. But in each and every game that you think a team has a massive advantage against another, and I do think the Bills have a big advantage over the Patriots. What is one way that you could actually sway the game in the favor of the Patriots? And that's turning the ball over. I want 0 turnovers from Josh Allen today, I should say. No interceptions, no fumbles, just a solid 300 yards, 3 passing touchdowns or more. That's what I want to see from Josh Allen today. No interceptions at all. I don't want to see the Bills shoot themselves in the foot and make this a close game, make this a closer game than what it needs to be. This is a team, rather, that, meaning the Bills, that should continue to beat down the opposition of the AFC East. I think the reality is the Patriots are just not a talented team. They do have to win to guarantee that they're getting in. We could see this matchup even next week as the Bills could play the Patriots, Dolphins, or Steelers in the NFL wildcard round with a win as the second seed, I believe. So we'll see what happens, but the AFC playoff race has been one to keep our eyes out on. The Jacksonville Jaguars just clinched the AFC South after going 4-13 last year with Urban Meyer. So there's a lot to dissect within this AFC playoff picture. Once it's actually official, teams 1 to 7, I think we're going to get a more clear-cut idea of the path to a Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills. With that being said, my score prediction for the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Buffalo Bills Week 18 pregame show, the Bills versus the Patriots, it's 31-10. I got the Bills winning this one big. I got the Bills winning this one by 21 points en route to a solid victory that I know today, no doubt about it, will be one of the more emotional days for the Bills Mafia as we're rallying from what we experienced this past week with Damar Hamlin, and we're going to use it as motivation for a great win. Win one for the Gipper, so to speak. Win one for Damar. Do it for Damar. Hamlin strong. Did we win? Did we win? Well, everybody's going to see us win, including Damar Hamlin today. I think this is going to be a great game, one that will go down as probably one of the most emotional games in Bills history, and we got the guys to get it done. We got the nail to put in the coffin of the New England Patriots in terms of letting them know that, hey, Patriots, we're the beast of the East. Hey, Jets, we're the beast of the East. Hey, Dolphins, no matter what happens, whether you guys are in the playoffs or not, we're the beast of the East. So with that being said, I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning into the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I want to remind everybody, I know people love watching the show, but you can also listen to it. I know a lot of people that love to listen to podcasts and stuff in their car on their morning drive to work, running errands, whatever it may be. I'm available everywhere. I'm available on YouTube, Facebook, but podcasting-wise, audio-wise, this podcast is available everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to a podcast, this podcast is available. So I really appreciate the support. It's been an amazing season. This past week was a traumatic one for yours truly. As big as a football fan as I am, felt like I had to put football in the back seat, put it in the rearview mirror for a little bit, as we all did in terms of trying to support and show our support for Damar Hamlin, who deserves everything. And I'm very excited that not only is he getting back closer to health each and every day, but that our organization is as united as it is. Our fan base is in sync with our organization. It's just a good vibe around the Buffalo Bills. No matter what happens, whether we win the Super Bowl or not, I think we will. But whether we do or don't, I'm just proud to be a Bills fan, proud to be a Buffalonian, proud to be a Western New Yorker, born and raised in Western New York, and I really feel proud to be a part of this community in the facets that I am. So thank you so much for tuning in. Go Bills. Enjoy the game, everybody.